With the previous launches, we introduced the GIS, but what we're going to do is now I'm going to show you that when it comes to your contours, we're going to make use of an area in Hawaii. So let's go to search. We're going to say Hawaii. Okay, it picks up in the system. I'm going to say OK, and we're going to make use of the round projection, the 3857. I'm going to say OK, so now my CRS is set. Caddie will ask us for the radius around Hawaii, 35 kilometers, that's fine. So now my CRS is set. So the source that I want to add now is that if I go to my source, we showed you that if you right click, you can go add data source. Then there's different ways of adding information. It can be either you can create your own MySQL database, or it can be from a shapefile. Now I'm going to focus on this ArcGIS map feature service. Now if I use that option, Caddie will ask you for a catalog URL. Now that link is normally available from your municipality or from the government. Now I'm just going to make use of the normal Cartoon National map. So if I'm going to say query, because I know this is in Hawaii, Caddie will give us what's the information available on that server. So if I'm going to expand the contours, because that is what I'm looking for, you will see that there is number 6, and my type is going to be polyline. So let's just give it a name. I'm going to call it Hawaii, and it's catalog URL. I've got number 6 that I'm going to make use of. As you can see at the bottom, that is what it's going to make use of. I'm going to say OK, and on my right hand side, now you can see it is added to the list. Now the globe itself is to switch on and off what's on the layer, and then we go to the gear. Now the gear, that is your property. So I'm going to ask Caddie to bring it in pen number 2, as well as I can add a little bit of transparency to it. Now if I'm not going to make use of the option to put the contours on a specific height, as you will see it's not set. So if I'm going to say OK, Caddie will refresh this layer, and then you will see that everything should be flat. There we go. So now we can see the contours, and let's bring in an image in the background, just so you can see that this is in Hawaii. There we go. So what I'm going to show you now is if I'm going to face it from the front, you'll see that everything is flat. So I'm going to just go back to top view. I'm just going to switch off my image in the background. I'm going to say Control A. I'm going to press delete, and if I go back to my Hawaii setting itself, I'm going to ask Caddie to set the height from the property. Now the property itself is called contours. So I'm going to say OK. So what that means is Caddie will, as soon as I'm going to refresh the layer, Caddie will look at that specific field, and then it uses the Z height, and it places those contours on the correct Z height. So if we now just going to zoom in, and as I'm going to orbit it, as you can see, there's your different Z heights. And let's go info on one of those, and as you can see, the field that's called contour, it picks up the height. So this particular contour has got a Z height of 3,200 meters. Another announcement that's been added to the GIS is the option to convert the GeoTIFF file to a shapefile, so we can then use it in a model space. Now it depends on what is your source that you make use of. I've just made use of DEFRA site. Now once you find the location, you will see that there will be a tile, and then you can download this zip file, because this tile consists of a zip file because there's LiDAR information in it. And if you open the TIFF file itself, then this is how the TIFF file looks like. So now I'm going to show you how to convert this TIFF file to a shapefile. So the command that you're going to make use of is under application, we go down to GIS heat map, and then we go down to GeoTIFF to shapefile. Caddie asks us the input file, so we just have to browse and indicate that TIFF file. And as you can see, the file size is 16 meg, quite a huge file. And then Caddie asks us output type. We're going to ask Caddie to create contours. My band number is 1. Interval is going to be every 2 meters, that's the Z height. And then I'm going to ask Caddie to create a field called elevation, and my offset starts at 0. If I start at 1, it's going to be 135. My output file, that's where you're going to create this shapefile now. So I'm going to browse. I'm just going to create a new blank folder. So I'm going to say new folder. I'm going to keep it new folder, that's fine. And inside that folder, I'm going to say new shape. I'm going to say save. Caddie will give us, because I'm asking Caddie show log file at completion. So if I'm going to say OK, Caddie will tell us Caddie is converting the file in the background. You will receive a message when the conversion is complete. So I'm going to say OK. And as you can see, Caddie comes up with my log file. Done. So I'm going to close it. Caddie confirmed once again, shapefile created from GeoTIFF file. And I'm going to say OK. Now to make use of that shapefile, you can either add it by adding it as a file, or you can add it to your MySQL database. So I'm going to show you how to add it to your file. So I'm going to right click inside and I'm going to say add data source. The option that I'm going to make use of is a file, because we've created the shapefile. I'm going to say add, and then we're going to give it a name. Now I know it's Eton, it's England, my source file. So we're going to browse to that shapefile. Now if you look at that folder, because we've created a new folder called new folder, in that folder itself, you will see that there's not only a shapefile, but if I go star.star, you will see that the project file is in that folder as well. So we're going to indicate the shapefile, and Caddie will pick up the project file in that same folder as well. So I gave it a name. I'm going to indicate the shapefile. Caddie requests a project file that we find in that same folder. I'm going to say OK, and it's added to the right hand side. So all I have to do is I can just set my CRS now. My CRS is set to 27700. I'm going to say OK, because this is a data information. I can just go and I'm going to load all the information. And now Caddie show you on the bottom left hand side, loading the shapes. And there we go. From a GeoTIFF file, converted to a shapefile, and the shapefile is now, they are like contours. If I go to polyline, and as I mentioned, if I go to info and I select one of those contours, Caddie will give us your elevation. In this case, it's 86 meters.